going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media. Bringing Ravens content every single day. It's time to start the off season, and I just want to give a big sigh because it was like so good for so long. Like the Ravens were playing like the exact way that they needed to. They're playing great defense. They were getting stops. And then Gregory, Denny's Menu, Gregory. You guys call him a lot of names. I call him Gregory. Shouldn't even be coaching high school football. Roman decided to go out and mismanage the entire end of that game. I'm not too upset. Again, I said I said in the pregame show earlier this week, if the Ravens lose and I feel like they played pretty well, I'm not going to get that upset, and I'm not that upset. But for the Ravens to go out there and first off, obviously the fumble from Tyler Huntley on that QB sneak, it's difficult to know who that was. Sometimes a player will decide I'm going to jump over and I'm going to extend, but also a lot of times that is called. And that is the play. You're going to jump over the top right here. So, obviously we don't know who made that decision. Whoever did, that was a bad decision. And what's really frustrating about that is that's a play Ravens fans have seen before. Ravens Chargers, that happened. Lamar used to do that all the time, and they got Lamar to stop doing it because it basically never worked, and he fumbled it consistently doing it. But they end up calling that play, and that was the difference. I mean, that play right there. And then the final drive, I felt like them not calling a timeout. They had the ball with like 50 seconds left, and they didn't call timeout. They snapped it with about 25 to 28 seconds on like second and 20 or whatever, right after calling a draw. I was like, why are you calling a draw with 25 seconds left? If they'd called timeout earlier or whatever, and it's, you have a minute, but they didn't. Like, it was like, why are you calling a draw play here? And then, of course, Raven season ends on a drop. Mr. James Prochet. Well, it wasn't like a bad drop. I'm not upset. Oh, man, you should have caught that. It would have been a great catch, diving, ball falling to the ground. But, we rode the defense. That was how the Ravens were going to win. It had to be, you had to not turn the ball over. And what was the difference? Tyler Huntley throws a pick on the Ravens' first drive. Bengals capitalize. They score a touchdown off of it. And then Tyler Huntley fumbles at the goal line. They return it for a touchdown. 14 points right there. Ravens lost by 7. And it would have been a touchdown or field goal. So that's a 17 or 21 point swing right there. And it's what's new. I mean, there was Joshua. What are you feeling about this game?
I mean, outside of the mishaps, man, I definitely would have wished when we got the ball in the second half, I wish we would have got some points. That could have helped us out a lot. But they got us 3 and out. I think we went away from our bread and butter. I think we went away from the run game. Yeah, they had the outside help. At the end of the day, the way y'all kept on pulling guys, you had to run the cutbacks. You had to really run the cutbacks. Like everybody was flowing to either the left or the right side. You had the whole other side of the field open, or because they played the run so much, throw in some play action. Those were literally the times. The way we ran the ball so much when we had Joe Flacco, play action would have been so helpful in this time around. No, we may not have the pass catches, but hey, it would have kept the defense honest. Instead, they overload on the left side, they overload the right side. They got guys literally sitting on the outside to stop the run. And you got DJ Reader and BJ Hill pushing down our offensive linemen into our running backs so they can't get up to the next level. So, I mean, it was good. They put up a fight. It's just the mishaps, man. The mishaps, the interception. Trying to jump the power line. Like, dude, you're not 6'6" and 240. You're literally like 5'10", 5'11", maybe under 200 pounds or 200 even. You're
And he was also like, it's not like it was like 1 inch away that he
Right.
needed like a yard and a half. And you're not getting that with a reach over. And it's just like the kind of frustrating part with this is like, you watch this game and you're like, I'm seriously questioning whether or not the Ravens would fire Greg Roman after this or part ways with him, because they're going to look at it and they're going to be like, hey, wow, look at this backup quarterback. They're able to run the ball. If we didn't have that unlucky fumble, Greg Roman wins us that game. Like, I'm looking at this yeah, you lost, but overall, like, I think Tyler Huntley, first off, I want to say good job. I think he played well. Just about as well as he needed to win that game. It was just an unlucky fumble. And if that was a Greg Roman play call or a John Harbaugh decision to try and do that extension, then that's not on him. If he decided to do that, that is on him. But like, it's
rough, man.
it's rough because the defense. We talked about how the Ravens need to ride what's going to get them there, and it was running the football, and it was this defense. And this defense went out and did exactly what they needed to do. Again, held another great team to under 20 points. This is a great offense. And an offensive fumble recovery for a touchdown, it was the difference. I mean, they went out there and they held the Bengals. I got to look at the stats. They held the Bengals to 234 yards. They held the Bengals to. This defense is insane. They were getting pressure. They had 4 sacks. They allowed only 50 rushing yards. I mean, they did exactly what the defense needed to do, and the running backs did exactly what they needed to do. The offensive line did exactly what they needed to. I felt like the wide receivers performed well. Demarcus Robinson made some plays. Sammy Watkins, he I feel like made some plays, at least like in the blocking game. He only got 1 reception, but like they also were throwing passes to him and things like that. Like, I feel like they did a good job. It was literally down to execution by a couple of players in a couple of key situations. And Joshua, we talked about it in the pregame show, like the guys that really needed to step up. All of those players did.
Yep.
Al Hamilton, Adafe Owe. Those were 2 major pieces. Marcus Peters. Marcus Peters needed to make 1 play this game, and I was like, I would be happy with it, and he did. 3rd down, they threw it at him. Hand fighting, incomplete. T. Higgins misses the catch. That gave the Ravens a chance. Like, every single player on that defensive side of the ball did exactly what they needed to do. And the offense, once again, let them down. And Floyd calls him Gregory Rasputin. I love it. I think they should fire him, but at the same time, I don't know. Like we're definitely not going to fire Harbaugh.
It would have to come down to Harbaugh, like literally saying, "Oh, I'm going to retire." I think. As much as I would want him to go, I don't see EDC letting him go. That easy neither.
I just saw a stat from ESPN Stats and Info. The Ravens are the 2nd team in the last 15 seasons to lose a playoff game where they ran for 150 plus yards, allowing less than 250 yards. You know what the other team was?
No.
The 2020 Ravens against the Buffalo Bills. You know who the offensive coordinator was in both of those games? It was Greg Roman, because he couldn't actually put the ball in the end zone, and he couldn't execute. Oh man, I gotta block this. Block user. There we go. We can't blame Greg Roman every year, even though I don't like him. Well, you can blame Greg Roman when he makes mistakes. The game was poorly managed at the end of the game. The clock management by John Harbaugh was pretty poor, but the game management, the decision to run a draw play with 2 timeouts, that was terrible. I mean, that draw play was one of the worst play calls I've seen. They tried to run Mark Andrews halfback counter out of shotgun. Like, what are you doing? Like, it was just like, I mean, there was some good play calls. Like, this wasn't the worst Greg Roman game. Like, there's been games where it's like Greg Roman was terrible. Greg Roman wasn't terrible this game, but at the same time,
He
Like
still showed. He still showed his true self. In
exactly, like it was good, it
the
was good, it was good, it was good, and then it was like, oh man. And that interception was frustrating too because the Ravens were averaging like 7 yards a carry
yeah,
for the first 3 plays. They're running the ball really well, and then they went 5 wide.
that was
Take
literally a force fed to Mark Andrews. Like, yo, that pissed me off so bad. Like, I know Mark Andrews is supposed to be our first read, but damn, bro, you gotta overlook him. You gotta overlook him because everybody plays that.
Yeah, and the clock management was terrible. Clock management's basically always been terrible under Harbaugh. Harbaugh's not great with clock management. That's not a skill set of his. Um, Harbaugh. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about John Harbaugh. This is what Harbaugh is good at. Harbaugh is a motivator, and these guys went out and they played their damn ass off, and they did exactly what they needed to do. Basically, every single there wasn't a player in this game that I'm coming out frustrated with. There were some bad plays. I'm not going to say like every player played perfect. Like Geno Stone roughed
Oh,
the kicker
man. Yeah,
or the punter. That sucks. But I'm not pissed at him. I'm like, you know what? At least he went for the block. But and that's also the call, right? That's the special teams call is we're going after this. We're going to try and block it. And the Ravens offense wasn't scoring points. No player played poorly. They all came out and did their absolute best. And it was the clock management skills of the Ravens offense, and it was the poor play calling down the stretch of this game, right? Joshua, we talked about it. The Ravens are not built to come back.
yeah.
And even being down 7, it felt almost insurmountable. It was like, oh my gosh, we got to get the ball into the end zone. We'll see how that goes. Because they struggle so much with it. And, even the decision making at the end of the first half, think about the play calling there.
What about the flood right? our back in the day flood right. And you try to squeeze it to the Marcus Robinson. Like, bro, everybody's flowing with that. Have Justice Hill literally cut it back into the middle. Have him use his speed against a linebacker and just lob it. Because we know you can't throw it. You ain't got no zip on it. Because if you put zip on it, it's going to be a low ball. Like Snoop, he did okay. He had a good run. Even I know people was hype. People may say, "Oh, let's keep Snoop and forget Lamar," but no. I was still waiting on Anthony Brown to get into the game. I'm gonna be honest with you, because some of them throws Anthony Brown would have made. I'm gonna be honest.
This is exactly correct from Joshua Coleman. Greg Roman isn't typically terrible the entire game. It's not like you're watching the game and every play you're like, man, that was terrible. It's anytime you need him. Because the offensive coordinator, when you need them, is third down. When you need them is red zone, last 2 minutes, the creative opportunities. When they start stopping the offense, that's when you need the offensive coordinator to step up and start picking plays that work. Greg Roman doesn't do that. And so when they need a touchdown, when they need a big play, he struggles consistently. And I want to say a shout out. I think the best play Greg Roman's ever called, he called in this game. He called the screen pass to Mark Andrews. It didn't work. The play didn't work. Screen pass to Mark Andrews on the rollout to the right, and then they threw it back over there. I was like, you know what? That was actually a great play call. I was like that. I was very happy with that. I was like, it didn't work. And that's the thing is like, you can be happy with a play call even if it doesn't work. Like that was a good attempt. They ended up, I think, calling timeout and then they went after it. But like the frustrating parts is, okay, you decide to throw the ball to Patrick Ricard again. Never rely on Patrick Ricard to throw the ball to him on 1st and goal. Then they go, all right, let's run it up the middle with Gus Edwards. He gets to the 1. Then they go, all right, let's just QB sneak jump over the top. It's like, man, if you just run that ball with Gus Edwards 3 times in a row or J.K. Dobbins or whatever, like they were running the ball so well.
Literally.
Especially to the inside. Like, yeah, the stretches and the outside zones, they were working, but they were getting, they weren't getting 20 yards up the middle, but they were getting 3 yards. That's all you needed.
Or put Patrick McCarry back there with Pat Ricard and run and have Gus run right behind him. You had to when you in the what did we say in the pregame? By any means necessary, get all points. And you think a QB sneak with Snoop was going to help us get those points? I mean, shout out to Hubbard though, because I would have been gassed by the time I got to the 50.
And I'm going to say there's not a chance in hell anybody's ever calling a block in the back on a play like that. It's not happening.
Yeah.
They don't call a block in the back with 20 yards left to go on kickoffs. Like, they don't call, like, that's not a call that's ever made. And you can argue that it was a block in the back. I'm not going to say it wasn't, but at the same time, that's not something that's going to get called, right? It's like I think every Ravens fan knows Jimmy Smith committed pass interference in the Super Bowl against Michael Crabtree. Every single it was pass interference, but they're not going to call that in, game on the line Super Bowl. They're not going to call a light pass interference penalty. They're not going to call a bump in the back on a guaranteed touchdown, running down when the guy kind of just falls over. Like, they're not calling it. So, we got to look and we got to see what the Ravens are going to do. We got to figure out if Lamar Jackson is going to be here. And John Harbaugh says QB sneak was the right call, and I'm fine with the QB sneak. Again, he said it just wasn't executed properly. So, looks like John Harbaugh is saying that the QB that was on Tyler Huntley. It appears. Harbaugh said the play call was for Huntley to go low. So that's Tyler Huntley right there, Joshua. What do we say? Don't be the hero. Rely on your other guys. Rely on your offensive line. Rely on the guys that are going to push you. He tried to be the hero. We lost the game. That right there. This is what I talk about all the time with Tyler Huntley. Low IQ. Low football IQ. Bad decisions. I mean,
Yeah.
on third and 20 at the end of the game, he didn't even throw to anybody. He just doesn't make the right decisions, and he consistently makes the wrong decisions, especially at key points. And that was a bad decision. He tried to be the hero. You can't do it. Void, thank you so much for the super chat.
Honestly, I don't know if James Boucher been in a moment like that. I don't even think he expected the ball to really be there. He just didn't bring it in. It is what it is. We don't have those type of wide receivers that that have that 99 spectacular catch in them.
Yeah, like
so yeah, man.
It's like, I don't know how many people here have tried to catch a ball when you can't see it until it's at the ground. Like, he dove for it.
Yeah.
You can't see it. That's an incredibly difficult catch to make. And he couldn't make it. But Miguel, thank you for the super chat. Lamar leaves, I will no longer be a Ravens fan. I'll still be a Ravens fan, but I get I get it. If Lamar leaves, I get it.
I mean, Miguel, man, depending on how long you've been a Ravens fan, man, that's totally up to you, man. But like McConnell said, man, I'm a rock with this team, man. But wherever Lamar go, he will still get my support. I still want to see that. I still want to see him win. Just see in this league that pretty much try to count him out as a QB.
Yeah, and when you're looking at building this roster, Jamie or Jaime says, "Sure, we need." I mean, right? Like, here's the thing. I've talked about it before. You can win without wide receivers if you play really good football. If you have a good defense, you can win. Look at the New York Giants. They went up against a very good offense. What did they do? They ran the football. They were able to get some stops on defense, and they converted in the red zone. That's exactly what the Ravens needed to do. It was the game before the Ravens played, and they did not. Instead, they had bad fumbles, and they had bad penalties. That's it.
And shout out to Daniel Jones. He had a lot of undesigned runs as well in that game. So he was pushing the envelope, whether it was passing or with his feet. And Daniel Jones been doing that, since he been the QB with the Giants too. So it's not like how it's designed over here for Lamar or any quarterback to just use his legs and then use his arms second.
Yeah, I mean, so it's kind of funny now that we know Tyler Huntley was supposed to go low. I mean, that's just wrong. I mean, you can't mess that up. You can't mess that up. That like QB sneak, you're supposed to go low.
Mm-hmm.
Like if coach calls a basketball play and it is a drive and kick to the corner three, no matter how open you are, if you have a wide open layup, you kick that thing to the three. Why? Because maybe you're down three and maybe you're like, oh, I can get a quick two and then we can get a turnover and do that. Coach calls a play, you run that play. All right.
Especially if you're the role player on top of that.
Yeah. Especially if you're a role player, and especially if it's a play that is specifically designed for one thing, which is to go low. You can block a go over top. You'd block it differently, though, because you need to hold the top. Instead, when you block low, the linemen try and take out the legs of the D lineman, so then you can slide over. When you go over top and they take out the legs, they can still reach upwards. Like they're falling, but they're reaching. And so then the guys behind, they're able to slap you down or knock you down and slap the ball. Mm-hmm. And why he's so ignorant, shout out to the coaching staff for that top tier clock management. Again, that's been a problem for the Baltimore Ravens for years under John Harbaugh. For years, that has been a major issue for John Harbaugh.
No, seriously, no.
And the benefit, here's the thing. It's better draft pick. That is the benefit that comes out of this game. I don't know if we fire Harbaugh. I don't think we fire Harbaugh. I don't know if we, move on from Greg Roman. I think there's a 30% chance Greg Roman is still with the Ravens. It could be even higher.
So now, as far as draft wise, we should be like mid-20s, early 20s.
Yeah, here, let me see here. Let's see. Where do the Ravens sit in the draft order? Hopefully they're... Okay, the Ravens are at 23, but the benefit is the Miami Dolphins forfeited their picks. The Ravens basically had the 22nd pick in the draft, which is very good. That's a very good spot, especially if you're going after a corner or a wide receiver, right? Jackson Smith and Jigwick could be available there. You could get Addison there. You could get Clark Phillips there. I would hope that you could maybe get a Christian Gonzalez there, a cornerback out of Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
But, I know a lot of people saying Jackson Smith and Jake Bum.
They keep on calling the stellar wide receiver names, but at the end of the day, we don't know who our quarterback is going to be. We don't know who the head coach and OC going to be going into the year. So we also got to put all that in perspective. I mean, those names and those players will look good in black and purple. Don't get me wrong, but we got to put in perspective a lot of things before we start calling off names, bro.
That's true. Miguel, Fire Roman, I don't care. Thanks so much for the super chat. And I agree. Like I don't want Greg Roman here. I don't want John Harbaugh here. But you know what?
Definitely time for a new change.
Yeah. Like you can't have, no matter how, it's just not working.
Yeah.
Sometimes, no matter how good, I don't think Harbaugh's that bad of a coach. Just because I want someone gone doesn't mean I think that they're garbage. John Harbaugh can be a coach in the NFL, but it's not working anymore in Baltimore. If he wants to go and establish his own culture, I think the Ravens, when you have a superstar quarterback and the defense that they have, you could go out and get a coach that wants to bring, think about what Mike Vrabel would do with the Baltimore Ravens. Mike Vrabel this team would be insane because his philosophy is just, we are going to run this football and we are going to beat people into submission.
Yeah. I think we need somebody that got that swagger though. I think we need a guy that's in his 30s.
Oh yeah, I would love bringing in somebody that's young, that really wants to get a good start, because we just, and Harbaugh's not going to do that, right? Because if you're young, you want to take that head coach opportunity, and Lamar is going to have people wanting to play. And I'm happy that we have most of our guys locked up.
Yeah.
So our defense is set, right? Outside of cornerback 2, our defense is set. After that, it's like we need to get a wide receiver. We need a wide receiver and a cornerback 2, and this team could win. This could be the best team in the NFL. If we got an offensive coordinator / head coach, a wide receiver, and a cornerback 2, this is probably the best team in the NFL. Not even like, oh, it could be. No. This is the best team in the NFL if they have that. And they can add that in the draft.
Yeah. We got a strong defense. Literally, we're a head coach or OC away, along with a wide receiver, cornerback number 2. Damn, I mean, we got offensive linemen. We literally got offensive linemen in the stable. So yeah, man. We're literally a couple pieces away.
CJ, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, how about the Rick Carlisle of the NFL, in my opinion? Win a chip in the early 2010s and hasn't done anything since.
That's a good comparison.
It's not bad. And it's just like if we keep Harbaugh, if we keep Roman, what can the Ravens do better? Because Roman's not going to improve. It's not like Roman's a rookie. Roman's been doing the same crap for 12 years. Exactly. Still doesn't work. Harbaugh still has the same problems that he's had since, Ray Lewis left. It's just like, the Ravens are in a troubling spot. And I feel like it's more likely than not that Greg Roman is the OC next year. Like, I don't think he's gone. If the Ravens went out, put up 7 points, got blown out, he's probably gone.
No, he wouldn't have been gone for the simple fact that they made it to the playoffs still. You gotta put that in perspective. We do enough. I feel like this coaching staff, well, let me take that back. I feel like John Harbaugh and Greg Roman, they have enough going on in order for them to stay relevant and keep a job. I feel like they don't do their job enough in order to, really bring in championships. They just do enough to, stay afloat.
Miguel, I'm assuming you're saying Sean becomes the head coach, Sean Payton, and then T. Martin. If Sean Payton becomes the head coach, or if the Ravens bring somebody outside of the organization to be the head coach, they're going to bring in an OC. They're not going to promote T. Like, it's going to be somebody new. When you bring in a new head coach, they bring in a coaching staff. Now, Mike Macdonald would keep his job. Mike Macdonald could be the next head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. I would not be surprised. Mm-hmm. Like, I think Mike Macdonald is going to get. I think it's almost guaranteed Mike Macdonald's going to have an opportunity to be a head coach either this year or next year.
I'm surprised nobody hasn't asked him for an interview as of yet.
Like they're going to watch this playoff game and they're going to be like, wow, the Ravens offense didn't even look that good, but they were in this game.
Mm-hmm.
They've been in every game because they are elite. Like, they got good players, but they are running. He went out there and he had a game plan. He said, you are not going to beat us deep. You're going to have to dink and dunk your way down this entire football field, and then you're going to have to score in the red zone. And the Bengals scored twice in the red zone, kicked a field goal in the red zone, and it was like, all right, you're done. And anytime, that's the benefit of the Ravens. If the Ravens had a passing game, do you know how hard it would be to beat the Ravens? Because the Ravens defense is so good at stopping the run and forcing 3 and out. Like when a team's trying to ice the Ravens down, the Ravens don't let that happen. The Ravens get the ball back 3 and out almost every time. Problem is the Ravens can't throw the ball because Greg Roman's incompetent, because Tyler Huntley can't really throw, and because they don't have wide receivers. So it's like the Ravens then punt. That's 3 and out. We saw last week the Ravens forced 6 3 and outs in the second half. I'm gonna see what the Ravens did in this second half. Just for the stats, just for fun. Second half, 1 3 and out, 2 3 and out. They forced 2 3 and outs. Oh, but then they also had 2 more 3 and outs, split by the roughing the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
So if you count that as 2, they had 4 3 and outs forced. If you count it as 1, it's 3. The Bengals had 1 drive in the second half that did anything. Their first drive, they scored a touchdown. They did absolutely nothing since because the Ravens defense locked up.
How would you be willing to give Jim Caldwell an interview?
No.
Damn.
I don't want Jim Caldwell.
Oh.
Like the Ravens need something different. They need something new. I think they got to go to either a young offensive coordinator.
Honestly, I would like Brian Johnson out of Philly. He's the QB coach.
Yeah, you could bring him in. You could bring in. Honestly, like I'm fine with promoting Mike McDonald to head coach, and have him call the defense. You could have him then hire or promote one of the other coaches to be the defensive coordinator, and then hire an OC.
I feel like if Mike McDonald becomes head coach, I feel like he promotes Zach Orr, and I feel like he might.
Absolutely, yeah, you could do that.
And I feel like he might just keep everything in the house and might actually promote like T. I don't think he would bring anybody else in, unless he reach out to somebody from Michigan. And I don't see that happening. Sheesh. Saratoga, like, why we gotta be that? We're just saying. We're just thinking as the Ravens do. They would do something internally like that.
Also, why would you not want to hire McDonald? McDonald came in and turned the Ravens defense into the second best defense in the NFL.
And he's already been here before he left to Michigan. Think about that too. Like he has ties here in Baltimore.
He's trash. I don't think you understand defense. Like I truly believe that you don't understand football if you think that Mike McDonald is a bad defensive coordinator. Like, what were the problem? Like, this is the same defense Wink Martindale was running. This is the same defense. Basically the same level of pass rushers. And the same secondary. Like, the same cornerbacks at least. And Wink Martindale struggled to get pressure. He struggled to force turnovers. He struggled to stop the big play. Mike McDonald completely changed the system, said we're going to run a soft zone with match coverage. And they were able to lock down. That's good football. Is he the greatest defensive mind of all time? No. But he's like 34 years old. He's incredibly young. It was his first year as a defensive coordinator, and he came in and he led those guys. And he had a lot of young players that he was able to turn them around. Kyle Hamilton started slow.
Yep.
He turned him around. Oh my gosh, Kyle Hamilton's so good now. Forced to fumble this game. He was unbelievable. He lost to Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is like a top 8 quarterback in the NFL. So I don't know what. If you're judging based on losses, then I don't think you should be judging defensive coordinators because the Ravens did not play well in that game. And they did a good job. Rex Ryan would never let Trevor Lawrence eat his defense. Yeah, but Rex Ryan let every other offense eat his defense when he was the head coach of the Jets. So, and Rex Ryan, when he was a defensive coordinator, he had Ray Lewis and Ed Reed.
he had Hall of Famers. He
And you
literally
think Mike McDonald's not good because he had good players, and then you bring up Rex Ryan as the guy that you want him to be. Good job.
he's kind of funny. I love him though.
B. James. Here's the thing about Jim Harbaugh. I think Jim Harbaugh is a very good college coach because I think he's a great recruiter. I don't think he's a great NFL coach. I don't think he's a great recruit. Like NFL is more about schematics. Harry McDonald doesn't change anything. Well, the Ravens defense completely changed under him, so I don't know if you watched the Ravens any year before this year because we draft a receiver and pick up D-Hop. No, it's not happening. Problem is the Ravens don't have a second-round pick to trade for D-Hop, so it would either be a future pick. But if we go after D-Hop, we're not drafting a receiver first. We may draft a third or fourth round receiver if we get D-Hop, but we're not drafting him first round.
Yeah. I see us getting corner first.
I want to see
Man.
the rest of what
coaches aren't even available anymore.
Donovan, thanks so much for the super chat. Says when Harbaugh actually has to coach, he freezes up like a foil deer and fails. How many more first round exits are they going to need? He's washed up. I mean, he does. Like, because here's the thing, Harbaugh doesn't do anything. Like when you're coaching the game, like he's the one that decides to throw the challenge flag, but everyone throwing a challenge flag, they're just listening to guys in their ear. He's the one that decides when to call timeouts. He's the one that talks to the players and motivates them on the sideline. Like that's what he does. I mean, that's his job. And I want more than that out of a head coach. I mean, he delegates. You can have a leader that delegates. That's fine if they delegate well, but he doesn't delegate well, which has always been his problem. He's always struggled with getting coordinators.
He's too accepting of what they call. Like he never challenged. Only person he said like he challenged was Wink. Like we seen him to verbally get into it on the sideline. But when it comes to Greg, oh no, he let Greg do his thing and don't question nothing about it. And win, lose, or draw, he gonna give you the most political answer in the post game press conference. Like that's what John does, man. He's literally the face, like over the White House. The president is the face of the real government.
Yep. But I mean, it's on to I get to start scouting now. I get to start looking at them cornerback. Get to start looking at them wide receivers. That's what I'm going to go through first.
Yep.
Probably going to watch. Let's see. Who should I watch first?
Did we start with the wide receiver university?
I'm either going to watch Jackson Smith or I'm going to watch Jordan Addison first. I'll probably watch Addison first.
Mm-hmm.
But, guys, comment down players. I'll definitely be watching Rashee Rice. I'll definitely watch Josh Downs.
Raheem Jarrett, definitely Deontay Demas out of University of Maryland.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch the Tennessee guys. Jordan Addison could. Here's the thing about what I've seen from Jordan Addison. He struggles against the press. I mean, it really like wide receivers really shuffle. If they run a great 40 or if they don't run a great 40. Like 40, like that killed Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like he wasn't fast. Like, he was talked about as like a late first round pick potentially. And then it was like, oh wait, he's not that fast. And I'm gonna watch all the guys. So I just wanted to start with guys that the Ravens might draft. But Quentin Johnston will not be available. I do know that. Hendon Hooker.
Wow. Seriously.
Problem with Hendon Hooker, Hendon Hooker is almost the same age as Lamar.
Hey, but somebody's going to draft Bennett. Stetson Bennett too. So
There better not be people drafting Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett could be a backup quarterback, like an undrafted free agent, then becomes like a backup.
I can see Bennett go to like Seattle, or either Max, what's his name, Duggan out of TCU.
Yeah.
I can see either one of them going to TCU. I mean, Seattle. If we was to draft a quarterback, I think for me it would have to be the guy from University of Kentucky. Just if we're going to go in a rebuild period, he's decent. Rebuild with him, and just actually add pieces around him every year. Do right by him. We damn sure didn't do right. We didn't do right by Lamar, but I mean, what they going? They pretty much going to clear their lockers this week, right? So we probably hear more in regards, the end of the year press conference.
Yeah, and it'll probably take the right. Hopefully it doesn't take. You know what? You know what I'm looking up right now. When did Wink Martindale get fired?
Dude, he got fired.
Like, was it how quickly after the season ended did he leave?
Was it like a week or two later? It was like February. Oh, we don't want Levi. I thought Levi had some dog in him, Cody.
BaltimoreRavens.com. The Ravens have parted ways with Wink Martindale. And written by Cliff Brown, January 21st, 2022.
Oh, damn.
So that was basically right when the season ended.
Okay.
So, hopefully.
I don't think they're gonna make any decisions that quickly with this group of guys.
But the thing is, with like coaching, you got to make those decisions quickly because then you got to scout with them.
True.
And so, like I don't think Harbaugh's getting fired, but I'm just hoping we get a new OC.
Thing is, it's just who would they give? Who would they even let Lamar Jackson be a part of this conversation too? So I mean, we'll see, man.
And something that I think is funny is Tyler Huntley. They asked him about the play, and he was like, "Yeah, I was just trying to make a play." That's the same thing he said last week or 2 weeks ago when he just like threw up an interception, and he was just like, "Yeah, I was just trying to make a play." And you're like, "What do you mean, just trying to make a play? Like nobody was there." I think John stays if Lamar walks. I hope not. Also, Lamar can't walk, so Lamar's not leaving. He could get traded, but Lamar can't walk. If Lamar wants to walk, Lamar Jackson will not play football for the next 2 years because the Ravens will franchise tag him both years and try and trade him. The mocks don't have us taking Bijan. Tankathon has us taking Bijan because Tankathon is a conglomerate of averages for where people will get drafted. So it's not actually saying this team will draft this team. It says on average, this player's average draft position is like 22.6, which is closest to the Ravens. So the Ravens take it. That's how Tankathon works. I don't think anybody actually has the Ravens taking Bijan. I think Eagles almost guaranteed take Bijan with the Saints pick.
Either Eagles or I can't even say the Bears. I don't even know what the Bears going to do. I don't even want to steal that organization. Never mind. Because now they're throwing out smoke screens about trading Justin Fields, which I don't see them actually doing.
J.K. Dobbins said he feels like he should have been the guy and feels like he's being held back. I agree. If we had Lamar, we would have won too, Dobbins added. Fucking Dobbins speaking facts. Like, that's the thing. Is like Dobbins is just like, yo, if we had Lamar, we're gonna win that game. And also, give me the damn ball. Like, feed me. Because he played so well. And I need to see how many touches he got. But like, this is why I said
that lob catch that he took for 26 was like, that gave me Ray Rice vibes. Like, he's better than Ray Rice, don't get me wrong, but like because of his stature and his speed, like he reminds me so much of him.
He had 13 for 62. And this is why I was upset when the Ravens re-signed Gus Edwards. Because I was like, we have JK. Re-signing Gus Edwards takes away the ability for JK to take over games. Because they are not going to allow him to really take over. Like, it's just going to be, oh, we're going to need to switch in and out. This is a game where he split carries with Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards had 12 carries for 39 yards. JK had 13 for 62. J.K. Dobbins is better in the passing game. 4 receptions for 43 yards. Gus Edwards had 1 for 13, and that was on a screen pass. Gus Edwards is wildly overrated, and I don't think he's a bad player. He can be a running back in the NFL. But when you have a player like J.K. Dobbins, you need to have him as a 1. You can't have a split backfield. But because Greg Roman wants to run the ball so often, it takes away the ability to have a dominant individual running back. That's one of the other issues with Greg Roman, is he wants it to be the scheme rather than the player, which works when you don't have anybody that's elite. But when you have a guy like JK that's really good, you start saying, hey, why don't you benefit my system rather than my system benefiting you? Instead, he just goes, oh, yeah, let's just switch in and out. But you know what? That's Greg Roman for you. Greg Roman sucks. We all know this. John Harbaugh's not very good. We also know this. J.K. Dobbins is a dog. We know this. J.K. Dobbins absolutely carried the Baltimore Ravens offense today.
I mean, we did say that, the run game needed to be, at the forefront. And when you keep on taking away from someone, it messes up their momentum. But it's like every time JK touched the ball, he didn't lose a step. I feel like it would continue feeding no more, whether in the passing game or run game. He would have played a bigger part in us possibly winning this game.
Yeah, and like he didn't get the ball at the goal line. Instead, we gave it to Gus Edwards, and like JK was the one that was breaking the runs.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, we go, oh, play action to Patrick Ricard. Again, terrible. And then, oh, Gus Edwards up the middle and then says QB sneak. And JK came out and said, like, hey, we got to just go out there and, like, not be putting a guy in a QB sneak. Like, give him the ball. He's so good at the goal line. And if Lamar asks for a trade, the Ravens may trade him. They don't have to. They could say, hey, like, we're going to build around you. Because there's been guys that have asked for trades. Kobe asked for a trade once. I think Dirk's asked for a trade. Like, legends have asked for trades before. They're able to talk them out of it.
Yeah, but they end up getting their stuff together, too.
That's true.
That's the only thing. I don't think if Lamar asks for a trade, I don't think they're going to reason with him. I think they're just going to give him what he wants. I mean, football and basketball are so different. Basketball players they have a voice and they can use their voice. And football is more of, sorry to say it, it's more shut up and dribble. But instead of dribbling the balls, either run or throw the ball, or just get a tackle. It's like when an NFL player try to speak up, they get shut down because of the mindset of these old guys at the general manager or the owners. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely two different levels of how they can use their voice in certain situations.
Yeah, it's just.
Just think about it. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant is the only two guys that can really go back, that really went back and forth with Phil Jackson and still were able to, win championships. LeBron James, even though, he probably sits in the coaching hiring process or whatever, but he can go back and forth with his coaches and sometimes even outcoach the damn coach that they hired. And they don't say nothing to him.
Yeah, we're just in a situation where it's just like the Ravens are a consistent playoff team that's going to fall apart in the playoffs because of coaching and because of discipline. That's what they are right now. And that's not going to change with a wide receiver. That's not going to change with a corner. The only way to make the real changes that the Ravens need is to get different get different coaches, get different leadership.
We definitely need a new philosophy here in Baltimore.
You need somebody that can do it, and you can be a run first team if you can figure out how to manage a passing game. But the Ravens can't. Oh man! All right, Joshua. I think I gotta head to bed, but
Well, I'm all voiced out. So this gonna be our last. It's gonna be our last stream for a while. At least until we hear some news. At least until we hear some news about something.
Yeah. Yep. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for coming through. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content. The off-season scouting discussion. I'll probably start tomorrow. I may have to do the first mock draft Monday tomorrow. I don't know.
Well, so start shooting us. Well, they can start shooting us emails or DMs about. Okay, Jim. Just start shooting us DMs or emails about who you guys would like for us to start looking at and things of that nature. And McConnell or us as a team will come together and we do a whole scout report, man. But y'all stay good. The ones that don't have to work on MLK Day, y'all enjoy your day off. The ones that do have to work, it's okay. It's gonna be all right. Looking forward to a new season.
Yeah. Hopefully some good comes out of this loss with either a good first pick or the Ravens fire a coach. I don't know. Thank y'all. See y'all again later.